So say you're the parent of somebody with a profound disability and you are looking for a new member of staff, a new team member, a new person to come into your home maybe, or come and take your loved one out for a bit. When that person comes to meet them, you really want them to get along with your loved one. You really want them, like in the dream world, they come into your house, they form an instant bond and connection with your loved one. They get it. They respond to their little idiosyncratic expressions. They delight in their company. That's the dream. And that, that can happen. It does happen. But more likely you get somebody who on paper has got relevant, they used to be a nurse, or they've had caring experience, or whatever, there's a reason that you've picked them to come into your house, and they come in and they sort of say a tentative hi to your loved one and a tentative hi to you, and sit there with a kind of rabbit in headlights interview shock that people on job interviews exhibit. And maybe you employ them because you understand that, and you hope that once they're in the role, they'll get into the swing of things. What could you do to ease that transition? And this is very much, I am not the person to ask this question to. This is just, I am a terrible manager of people. I have no capacity to lead a team whatsoever. To find somebody else to ask this question to. But if I was mumbling about it, I think there's a huge value in voicing your experience. So kind of providing a narration to what you do. So you might say, I'm just going to, bend down a bit so that I'm at his level, or I'm going to sit on this chair because when I sit on this chair, I can really see his face. And I'm just looking at his face now, and I'm noticing that his, you can see that his cheek's a bit raised here, and that's him. That's what he looks like when he's laughing. And you'd be amazed, like if I got you to write down what you notice about your loved one in a minute, there'd be pages of it. Like the amount of stuff that you're picking up on because you have that attunement and that knowledge, and as much of that as you can voice, even if it seems, flamingly obvious to you. Is the phrase flamingly obvious? I don't know. Maybe it is, like lit up in flames. Even if it seems really obvious to you, it's not necessarily obvious to everybody else. And say the obvious stuff, because there's a value even in pointing out the obvious, because when the person watching goes, well, I knew that, then they're like, oh, I knew that. That's good. I knew it. I'm okay. I can do this job. But by articulating what you're doing and why you're doing it and what you're noticing as you do it, even saying, I feel a bit silly sometimes when I have to blow raspberries on him because he's 25, and I'm worried that people in the grocery store will wonder what I'm up to, blowing raspberries on him. But when you get that laugh, it was worth it. Articulating that you don't necessarily feel supremely confident all the time, that you don't necessarily know what that person is thinking all the time, because that's another thing that people worry about, is like, what if I don't know what they want? What if I don't understand what they're saying? And the parents that I've met will say, I don't always know. I know she's upset, but I don't know why. And saying that you experience that not knowing too, that you're not asking the person to know everything, to be able to do everything, to feel confident and capable all the time. You're asking them to be a human, spending time with another human. Like, it's that simple. And by showing that you are a human spending time with another human, then you kind of map out a bit of it for them, I think. But like I say, I am never the person to ask about how to manage staff.